This week, it's all about pennies. Wait, aren't these videos always about pennies? Well, I guess that's true, but how about this week I try to give you some information you might not know about them, and maybe it'll actually help with your own pressed penny collection. Without any further delay, let's get things rolling. Welcome to David's Coin Travels. All right, first off, I'll just say, yes, I did get a quarantine haircut, so hopefully that doesn't shock anybody. I was initially going to wear a hat, but I figured, what the heck, this might be the way you're going to see me for the next few videos until it starts to grow out, so figured I would just mention the elephant in the room. When I started making notes about the topic for this video, I realized it was just going to be way too long, so I've decided to split it up into two separate parts. That way they're just a little more manageable and easier to watch. So for this first part, I'm going to call it legality and history. One of the most common questions I get through email or even meeting friends in the park is whether it's actually legal to press pennies. And for this, I'm going to put on my politician hat and I'm going to give a really ambiguous answer, which is maybe yes and maybe no. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, it really depends on the country you're in and the type of coins that you're looking to press. First off, just a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, so I really can't give a definitive answer on these. They're really just interpretations of the law that have been shared. I haven't researched every country, but I did want to go over 3 of the big countries for press coin collecting. First up is the United Kingdom, and unfortunately the answer for this country is maybe. The Coinage Act of 1971, Section 10, states that you cannot melt down or break up any metal coin which is being used for currency in the United Kingdom. Since the process of creating elongated coins does not require them to be melted down or broken up, then this does not apply. The only reason I mark this as maybe is due to some collectors from the United Kingdom mentioning that you can only press pennies and no other coin denomination. I haven't been able to confirm this, so if any of you out there know, please be sure to leave a comment below. Next is Canada, and this is a hard no. Section 11-1 of the Currency Act states that you would need a special license from the Minister of Finance to melt down, break up, or use otherwise than as currency any coin that is current and legal tender in Canada. Also note that Section 456 of the Criminal Code of Canada makes it a criminal offense to deface circulated coins. The offense is not dependent on fraudulent intent. Basically, regardless of whether your intentions are fraudulent or not, you cannot alter a Canadian coin in any way. So, what is the workaround? Well, I've used plenty of penny machines in Canada, and the machines usually state on them that you must use a US penny. Or, some machines are now preloaded with US pennies. Now, let's review the big one, the United States. The common consensus is yes, it's okay to press US coins. The United States Code under Title 18, Chapter 17, Section 331 prohibits the mutilation, diminution, and falsification of United States coinage. However, it's been the opinion that as long as the mutilation of coins is done without fraudulent intent, then it's okay. In plain English, this means if you were mutilating the coins to try and make a penny into a dime or a nickel into a quarter, that would be with fraudulent intent. Since pressing a souvenir penny is more for entertainment purposes and not to cause fraud, then it's okay to press all your US spare change. When I first started pressing pennies, I didn't really give much thought to the actual coins I was using. In most cases, I would just reach into my pocket and press whatever I had available to me. If I was trying to prepare for an upcoming trip, usually I would go through and try to find the newest, shiniest coins I could find, and that ended up being my preference at that time. But as my collection started to grow, I had noticed other collectors mention that they preferred to use pre-1982 pennies, or what they called coppers. Always looking to improve my collection, I decided to look into this further, and here's what I found that they were actually talking about. The first US cent was produced in 1793 and was made of basically 100% copper. That remained the case until 1857, when it was changed to 88% copper and 12% nickel. Next, it was changed in 1864, when it was slightly reworked to bronze, which is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Then, in 1943, at the peak of World War II, low-grade steel coins were coated with zinc and were only made for a short period of time due to war demands for copper, but this only lasted for about 1 year. In 1944, we were back to using 95% copper and 5% zinc. That was the case until 1982 when it was swapped to 97.5 zinc and only 2.5% copper. You might be asking where that little bit of copper can be found. Well, it's a zinc core with a tiny amount of copper plating across the surface. Press penny collectors prefer to use the pre-1982 pennies due to their higher copper content, which is felt to result in a better finished press design. After I had read more into this, I went back to my own collection and noticed quite a few of my own coins suffered from the same pet peeve other collectors mentioned about using newer pennies, which is the streaking or tearing that can occur. When one of these pennies are pressed and elongated, that thin copper coating can tear and reveal the zinc core, which does not always give you a great final design. Let's check out a comparison of some coin pressings I did using a wide selection of coins with different minted dates. I pressed them all using the same machine and same design to try and help with the comparison. To be honest, they don't actually look that bad. But let's zoom in on the 1988 zinc penny. Oh yeah, there are those pesky tears exposing the zinc core. My preferred pennies to use are obviously the pre-1982 versions, and I also like to use BU, or Brilliant Uncirculated coins. This just means they have not been in the general circulation, which helps keep them nice and shiny without having lots of fingerprints, dirt, or tarnish on them. But I still get the benefits of that higher copper content. Now you may be asking yourself where you can go to actually acquire these type of coins, and unfortunately your local bank really isn't going to be an option. Most of them don't just have these old 1982 pennies laying around in the vault. In my experience, a good place to try would be like a local coin collecting store. They would probably be able to acquire some for you if they don't have any on hand. The only thing I will mention is please note that because there is that higher copper percentage in those coins, they are going to be more expensive per roll. Rarely would you be able to actually find that you can buy them for the face value of 50 cents per roll. In most cases, it's going to be much higher. Another place I have found them that I get them a lot of the time is just from eBay. The same thing, if you can find them for about $2 to $3 a roll, that's a pretty reasonable price. And whenever I can, I try to load up on rolls of these coins because I do like to keep an inventory on hand so that I've always got them available when I need them. If you aren't interested in trying to hunt down any of those brilliant uncirculated pennies, that's not a big deal. You can just do what a lot of other collectors do and just try cleaning the generally circulated coins that you might just have laying around in your pocket or in your house. My preferred method is I just get a bowl, I fill it up with a little bit of white distilled vinegar, and I put in some coarse salt. If you don't have coarse salt, you can just use regular table salt. That works as well. You just kind of stir it up to get the salt dissolved in the vinegar. Drop the dirty pennies in it. I kind of swirl them around a little bit just to kind of get them rolling, and then leave them in there for about 10 or 15 minutes. After that time, you can just kind of fish them out, put them in a paper towel to dry them off. Usually while I'm drying them off in the paper towel, I will kind of rub them a little bit to get some of the excess dirt off of them. After they've dried, you may notice that they're just not as shiny. They're a little bit dull. Well, there's another easy fix for that. You can just get some baking soda, mix it with a little bit of water just to make a paste, and then rub that on the penny, and it'll kind of bring back the shine. You can search the internet for many different ways to clean pennies if you don't want to use the vinegar method I just mentioned. I've seen people using ketchup. I've seen others using Taco Bell hot sauce. Yes, that actually is real. And many other things. So it really just comes down to what you maybe have on hand at your home, and then obviously the results you get. Some will give you better results than others, so it's a little bit of trial and error until you find something that works for you. Well, that's going to do it for part 1 of our guide to pennies. Thanks as always for joining me today, and I hope you learned something new about pennies. Hopefully some of this information will actually help with your own pressed penny collection. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you're always notified anytime I release a new video. Also, be sure to leave a comment below so we can chat about pennies. Do you have a preferred type of penny? Maybe you like those old coppers, or I know some of you do like those new shiny ones. Just leave a comment below. Let me know which ones you do like. I do read all the comments. I appreciate everyone taking the time to leave me a comment. I try to respond to as many of them as I can. I do enjoy our community, and thank you all for helping to share the fun and enjoyment we have with pressing pennies. Until next time, have a fantastic week.